Hi guys, welcome to today's video. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a polar bear chocolate orange cozy. These are perfect little stocking fillers for Christmas or little products to sell at craft fairs, things like that, and they're really super easy to make. So to make this one you are going to need a 2.5mm hook and a 3.5mm hook. A needle for sewing, some toy stuffing, and of course a pair of scissors. The yarn I'm using is just an ordinary double knit weight yarn. I've got a mix of, I'm using some that are acrylic and some that are a cotton blend, just because those are the colours that I want to use for this one. So we're going to start with our white, and we're going to start with our 3.5mm hook, so our larger hook. Okay. We're going to be working in half double crochets for most of this work, and that's in US terms. For UK, that would be a half treble crochet. So we're going to start with our 3.5mm hook, and we're going to begin by making a magic ring. If you don't know how to do this, if you pop onto my YouTube channel, I have a playlist there called Crochet Basics, and within that playlist is a nice slow tutorial and a nice easy way to make one of these. So we have our magic ring. I'm going to be explaining this pattern in US terms, but I will sort of note UK terms every now and then for you. So most of this pattern is going to be worked in half double crochets. In UK terms, that's half trebles, okay? So we're going to work 6 half double crochets into the ring for round 1. That's 3. And 6. Okay, then we're going to pull our ring closed, and that's round 1 complete. For round 2, we're going to work a half double crochet increase into each stitch around. So we're going to work 2 half double crochets into every stitch. So count back to your stitches. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's your first stitch there. So yarn over to start your first half double crochet into that stitch. And then we're going to work a second half double crochet into that stitch to complete our increase, and we're going to do that into every one of the 6 stitches, so we end up with 12 in total after the end of round 2. So this is our third, fourth, fifth, and our 6th and final stitch. So now if you count back your stitches, you should have 12 on your loop, and that's round 2 completed. For round 3, we are going to work an increase in the first stitch and then just one half double crochet into the next stitch, and we're going to alternate that all the way around. Okay, so we're going to work an increase, so count back your stitches: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So that's our first stitch there. So we're going to work an increase into the first one and 1 half double crochet into the second, and we're going to repeat that all the way around. And at the end of round 3 you should have 18 stitches. I will leave you to get on with that one, and I'll meet you back at the end. So we've just completed round 3, and you should have 18 half double crochets in total. So for round 4 we're going to work an increase into that first stitch again, 1 and 2, and then we're going to work just 1 half double crochet into the next 2 stitches. So that's 1 and 2, and that again we're going to repeat that sequence another 5 times. So it's a half double crochet increase into the first stitch, followed by a half double crochet in the next 2 stitches, okay, and then complete that all the way around. And at the end of round 3 you should have, at the end of round 4 you should have 24 stitches, and I'll meet you back here shortly. By the end of round 4 you should have 24 stitches in total. Now we're going to work round 5, and you're going to work an increase into the first stitch, so 2 half double crochets into that first stitch there, and then we're going to work 1 half double crochet into the next 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2 and 3. So you're going to repeat that sequence 5 more times all the way around. So I'll just run through once more. So 1 increase followed by 3 half double crochets, 2 and 3. So finish off this round and I'll meet you back at the end. When you completed round 5, you should have a total of 30 stitches. Now at this point I would advise just checking for size, just to make sure, because obviously everybody's tension is different and obviously it depends on what yarn you're using as well. At this point just double check that your sizing is going well for the orange, okay? So you can see that that fits nicely on top, but we just need that one more round just to help ease it around the orange just that bit more, otherwise we'll be stretching our stitches out too much and you'll see a lot of the orange coming through. So we're going to do one more increase round, and that will take us up to 36 stitches in total. So for this one it's a half double crochet increase into the first stitch, as we do with every round, and then we're going to work a single half double crochet, or sorry, 1 double crochet, half double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. 3 and 4, followed by another increase, and another 4 half double crochets, and then you're going to repeat that another 4 times around, and then by the end of this round you should have 36 stitches, and I will come back and meet you in a second because now we're going to discuss what we're going to do next on the following 3 rounds. That's round 6 complete, and you should have a total of 36 stitches now. So that's our increase rounds completed. Obviously, as I said just now for round 5, if you found with the sizing that you were happy with that, just ignore obviously round 6 and just continue on with the 30 stitches instead of the 36. So now for round 7 to round 9, so that's for the next 3 rounds, we're just going to work a half double crochet into each stitch. Okay, so that's the next 3 rounds. So I will pause here and then I'll come back to you for round 10. At the end of round 9, what you're wanting to be looking for is when you try your cozy on your orange, you want it to be at least just over halfway down the orange now, because what we're going to be doing now is working decreases. So we want it at the point where the orange is starting to slope downwards. If you find yours is sort of up here a little bit still, just add another round in of the 36 half double crochets. It's not a problem at all. But otherwise, what we're now going to be doing is working decreases. So we're going to be doing it in the same sequence of patterns as we did with our increases. I'm going to be using invisible decreases for this pattern. If you don't know how to do that, it's really very simple. So all you do, instead of working underneath your 2 V's of your stitch there, you just work your decrease into the front loop only, okay? So for a half double crochet decrease, or a half treble crochet decrease if you're using UK terms, yarn over once, so you start your half double crochet as normal, insert your hook under the first loop only of the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then we go into the second stitch along, just under the front loop there, yarn over and pull that loop up. So then you'll have 4 loops on your hook, and then you just yarn over one last time and pull through all 4 of those loops, and that ties those 2 stitches together, okay? Then we're going to be working 4 half double crochets into each of the next, so into the next 4 stitches we're going to be working a half double crochet. So that's 2, 3 and 4, followed by another decrease. So again, yarn over to start your half double crochet, go into the first stitch under the front loop, pull up a loop, into the second stitch under the loop, pull up another loop. So you've got 4 on your hook, yarn over and pull through those 4 to finish off your invisible decrease, and then a half double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches, and then continue that all the way along until the very end of the round, and I will meet you back here when we have completed round 10. Now that we've completed our head, we're going to move on to working on the muzzle. I'm going to be using a grey yarn for this one, and I'm going to continue using the 3.5mm hook. We're also going to be working in the round, so we need to start with a magic ring, and then into the magic ring we are going to work 8 single crochets. Remember, I'm speaking in US terms, so that'll be 8 double crochets if you use UK terms. So we're going to work 8 into our magic ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 and 8. Then we're going to pull our ring closed. Okay, now we're going to do a round of increase and single crochets, and we're going to do that 4 times. So count back your stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Then work 1 single crochet increase into the first stitch. So that's 1 and 2, followed by 1 single crochet into the next, and then repeat that around again. So an increase, single crochet, single crochet, increase into this one, and a single crochet, and then a final increase and a single crochet into that last stitch there. Okay, so now that should take you to 12 stitches, so just double check that you've got the correct amount. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 stitches there. Now for round 3 we're going to work 2 increases, so we're going to put an increase into the first stitch and an increase into the second stitch. Okay, so 2 increases in a row, followed by a single crochet, and we're going to repeat that another 3 times. So an increase into the next 2 stitches, followed by a single crochet. So increase, increase, single crochet, and one more time. So we're doing it 4 times in total, the same sequence. Increase, increase, single crochet to finish. Now just double check your stitch count. You should have 20 in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20. So for round 4, what we're going to do is just work a single crochet into each stitch around. So basically what we're doing is we're making sort of a squared off circle. Do you see what I mean? We're sort of making a squared off, a rounded off rectangle if you like. So we're going to single crochet into each stitch around. So 20 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19 and 20. Now to finish this off, we're just going to slip stitch into the next stitch and that should, you might need to give it a little bit of a tweak into each corner. So if you just give each corner a little bit of a pull, just to square it off a little bit, so you've got sort of a flattened circle. Okay, so that's your muzzle complete. So pull up a long loop and leave a long tail for sewing to your bear head. I'm just going to thread my tail through that loop there just to secure, stop any stitches coming undone while we are working on our other bits. So that's the muzzle. While I've got the grey out, I am going to do the smaller inner ears. To make the inner ear, we're going to start with a magic ring, and then we are going to work 6 single crochets into the ring there. So if you're using UK terms, that would be 6 double crochets. 4, 5 and 6, and pull the ring closed. Now we're not going to be working around like we normally do at this point now. So you've got your 6 single crochets into the ring. We're going to make a chain of 1, and then we're going to turn our work so we're at the back of those stitches now. Then starting in this first stitch here, we're going to work a single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. So that's 1 single crochet and 2 single crochets, and then into the next 2 stitches we're going to work a increase. So work 2 single crochets into each of the next 2 stitches. So that's 1, 2 into that first stitch there, and then 2 into the next stitch. So we've got our 2 single crochets followed by 2 increases, and then we're going to finish this off with 2 more single crochets. So 1 in that first stitch and 1 in that final stitch space there, and that's the inner ear complete. And of course you need to make 2 of those, so just pull up a long loop as always, trim off so you've got a nice long tail for sewing in, grab your tail up through your loop to secure those stitches there. Okay, so you should have a little semicircle like that, and that's your inner ear, and you need to make 2 of those. So that's your inner ears and your muzzle. Now we're going to work on our outer ear. So we'll go back to the white. For the outer ear, we are making it in the same method as we did with the smaller inner piece, but we are adding an extra round on at the end. Okay, so we start with our magic ring and we work our 6 single crochets into that ring there. Four, 5 and 6. Then chain, pull your ring closed, chain 1, turn your work, work 1 single crochet into the first 2 stitches, followed by an increase into the next 2 stitches. And then to finish off, 1 single crochet into the final 2. Then we're going to make another chain of 1, and we are going to turn our work again. So for round 3, we are going to work 1 single crochet into the first 2 stitches. So that's 1 and 2. Then we are going to work 4 increases. So we're going to work an increase into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, into our second stitch, into our third, 1 and 2, and our 4th set of increases. And then we are going to finish off by a single crochet in the final 2 stitches. Okay, so now you should have a total of 12 stitches at the end of that one. As always, pull up a long loop, trim your tail, and for sewing to the head, wrap your tail through your loop there, and then as you can see, if I show you the inner ear there you have your little polar bear ears. So for assembly, I would for ease of assembly, sorry, I would sew the inner ear to the outer ear first on both, and the same goes with the muzzle and the nose as well. We're going to be sewing that on before you attach that to the head, because then you're only sewing on those 3 pieces rather than 6 individual pieces. Okay, so now we'll move on to the nose. To make the nose, obviously you at home would be using black yarn, but for the purposes of the video I'm just going to keep with the grey so that you can see the stitches more easily. So we're going to begin with a magic ring, and we're going to continue with our 3.5mm hook. You can always adjust your hook size if you find your nose is a bit too big. I just tried it with the 2.5mm hook and the nose came out too small, so I've just gone back up to the 3.5 for this particular yarn, but my black is a bit thicker, so I would have stuck with the smaller hook. Okay, so just adjust as you need to. It's really quick and easy to make, so it doesn't matter if you need to make a second one. So we've made our magic ring, and we're going to make a chain of 1, and we're going to work all of our stitches into this ring. So we're going to start with 2 half double crochets. Remember, that's 2 half treble crochets if you're using UK terms. So a chain of 1 and 2 half double crochets, followed by 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Then we're going to work a half double crochet, so just the 1 this time, followed by another 2 single crochets and 2 more half double crochets, and then we're going to finish that off with a chain of 1. Then take your tail and pull the ring closed, and you should have a little heart shape. Okay, so we're making a little heart for his nose. To finish this off, you then slip stitch down into the center of the heart, pull up a loop, and that's your slip stitch completed. Make sure you pull up a nice long tail, because you're going to be using this to attach your nose to your muzzle, but also you're going to be using it to make your little mouth line as well, so you need to make sure you've got plenty there. To finish the nose off, what I like to do is pull the loop all the way up, so you've got your tail all the way through, and then insert your hook from the back to the front. Take your working tail and pull it through to the back of your work. I just find then, once you've closed your ring really tightly, it just neatens off that second peak of the heart there. And then of course, just you can, if you like, you can tie those 2 tails together just to make sure it's extra secure and it stops that center coming undone. And then obviously you would just stitch that to your muzzle in position. You'd go sort of at the top there, and then as you're sewing along, just applique one nice straight long line for the mouth. So that's the ears, the nose and the muzzle complete. Now we're going to move on to the eyes. Again, obviously I'm going to keep with the grey just so that you can see, and I'm going to drop down to the 2.5mm hook. Okay, so for the eyes it's really easy. Obviously you need to make 2. Start with a magic ring again, and then all we're going to do is work 4 single crochets into that ring. UK terms, that would be double crochet, so 4 single crochets or 4 double crochets into that ring, pull the ring closed, and then you would slip stitch into that first stitch that you made there. Okay, so slip stitch into that very first one to round off your circles, and then pull up a nice long tail for sewing to the head. Okay, so that's your eyes, and you make 2 of those. Next we are going to move on to the scarf, and then I will talk you through assembly. For our polar bear scarf, we are going to be working in 1 long row. So what we do is we start by making our slip stitch, and then we're going to make a chain of 60. You may find that you want more or less depending on your tension and your yarn, etc. But basically you want enough on your chains to go around the bear's head, and then a nice amount left over for you to make a little crossover, a little fold over on the scarf afterwards. Okay, so for me that's 60. So if you go and make your chains and get your length correct for making your scarf crossover and everything after you're around your bear's head, then I'll come back to you and I'll show you how to do your stitches. So once you've changed your desired length, I'm just done a little short length here just to show you quickly, demo for the video. So you want to do your chain, whatever your desired length is, and then you want to add another 2 chains on at the end for your turning chains. Okay, so that's 1 and 2. Then we're going to work 1 half double crochet into each chain, starting from the 3rd chain from the hook, so not the 1st or 2nd, starting in this 3rd chain here, and we're going to work 1 half double crochet into each chain along, and this will make our little scarf. I've just done a few stitches just for demo purposes, and then I'll show you how to create the little tassels at the ends. Okay, so that's our row of half double crochets, and then what we want to do is pull up a bit of yarn, trim off, and again just pull that tail through the loop there to secure, and that can just end up being one of your tassels on the end of your scarf. So to make your tassels, it's really easy. What you need to do is take your piece of yarn and then sort of judge by eye the length of the tassels that you want to make, plus a little bit more, and then fold that in half so you're getting double the length that you're after. Obviously it's better to go longer because you can always trim that down, and then fold it over, and then basically cut several strands all the same length, and then to make your tassels, all you do is either thread from the front to the back or the back to the front, whichever way, but just keep it the same so that your tassels look the same. Take your hook, loop over the hook like so, pull it through your stitch space, and then chain 1 or just pull your tails up through your loop there, and then pull that tight, and that creates little mini tassels. I'll show you again. So insert your hook in the same direction you did last time. You don't have to be too specific with the stitches, you just need to sort of get it to the desired thickness that you'd like. So loop over your hook, then pull the loop back through the stitch, and yarn over with your tails and pull them through that loop, and pull the tails all the way through and pull tight. And then you do that several times over. I probably put another 2 tassels in there to make it nice and full, and then you can either leave the ends like that and trim them, or if you prefer you can make them a bit more tassely, a bit more fluffy like mine. So all I do to do that is take the smallest hook I haven't got my other ones to hand, so I might just use a needle, and basically what you want to do is separate your strands of your yarn. And using a hairbrush works really well because you can get it actually really fluffy. It comes out lovely, but I'm just going to show you quickly on the video what you can do even just by simply separating the strands as they are. Give it a little rub with your hands, and then keep working at that, and then eventually they become nice and fluffy. And then of course once you're happy with your finish, just trim off with your scissors, and that's your little scarf with the tassels. So for assembly, I'm just going to talk you through it. I'm not going to show you because we'd be here all night. So for your assembly, you need to take your muzzle and your nose, have your muzzle sort of long ways up, position your nose wherever you like, a bit further up than in the center, and then applique on your mouth, just in a straight line all the way down and attach to your muzzle. Then you will then do your ears. So you find your outer ear and your inner ear. I can't seem to find it at the moment. Oh, there it is behind there. And either pin in position or just freestyle it and sew those two together so that they're nice and even. So do that for both your ears. So then you've just got the one piece to attach to your bear head. With this, something like this, with amigurumi, when it comes to faces, anything with a face, I like to pin into place first. So I know that I've got it looking how I want it to look, because it just the tiniest change in the position of an eye can make such a difference to the overall look of something. So it's always better to pin. Personally, I find it's better to pin before I sew. So obviously just pin your items in the desired locations and attach those to the head. And then I didn't do the scarf until the very end, because basically the scarf does overlap where the stitches meet the floor. So what I've done is, with the scarf, you take the scarf and I've worked the back loops. So I've pinned in place and then I've only worked the back loops of the scarf into my bear head here, and I've just whip stitched all the way around. But what you can see, as you can see, I've gone up one round, so I've gone sort of above the first round at the bottom of the second, so that we've got a layer of stitches at the bottom first, and then we've got the scarf, so that the scarf sits out a little bit more rather than just sitting flat. Just adds to the texture a little bit. Of course, you can position yours wherever you like. You put it higher or lower, and then so you start stitching from. I started stitching from this end here, where at the point where I wanted my scarf to cross over, stitch all the way around the bear, and then I left this piece until the end so that I could stitch my two ends of the scarf together at the end there. And then that's it really, and that's basically it. And you've got your little secret chocolate orange inside. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I've got a couple more different designs coming up very shortly. Hopefully I will see you again to watch those. If you haven't already, please pop a like on the video. It helps others see my tutorials as well. And also pop and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content, and this will keep you updated of when it's out and when I'm releasing the next videos. So thanks again for watching, and have a lovely festive crocheting session.